here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We are just currently wrapping up in qualifying, and then you will get the field set here tonight. Great opportunity for some guys here. It's last race before we go into the playoffs. Still guys looking to get their first win of the season. Other drivers looking to repeat and get their total amount of wins stacked even more. We'll let these guys go ahead and get these cars gridded. In the meantime, let's take a look at this track here. Our track info, Las Vegas Motor Speedway. It's 1.5 miles, 4 turns. This will create a lot of, I think, multi-groove racing, possibly some strategy as well into tonight's race. There's going to be quite a bit of, I think, at least bumper to bumper racing to start off, and then I think maybe about 15-20 laps into this race we'll probably see some changes for the lead and or more spread out fields. And again, remember folks, this is our last race into the regular season portion of this season 3 league. Anybody who is in a reasonable position and has not locked themselves in tonight is able to win and secure a spot into that. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting lineup here. Here on the pole, Reese Schaefer, Joseph Kazi. These two have been the dominating pair of the season so far, and they prove yet again why they are the most dominant cars here tonight. Starting 1-2 here. Then going into row number 2, we got Jordan Berry, Eric Garrison. These two having a good starting position tonight. Jordan Berry, he's going to be one to watch out for. He was really fast last week at Richmond. Unfortunately, didn't get the results that he wanted to, but he did rally back and get a top 5 position, or top 5 finishing position, I should say. Then we go on to the next row, Justin Day, Derek Garrison. Derek Garrison with these 2 wins on the season so far. Justin Day just returning after being gone for a little while. Going on to row number 4, Bryce Shoemaker, Jason Miz. Bryce Shoemaker, 1 win so far this year. That was at Chicagoland Speedway. I apologize if I mispronounced your last name there, Jason. You are a first-time starter here tonight, so we'll be looking forward to seeing what you can do here. Row number 5, Nick Wood, Rob Hamp. Nick Wood in this 6 car, he'll be carrying our Freedom Ford Racing onboard camera, so we'll be checking in with him throughout the night. Going on to row number 6, Jim Foskett, Aaron Kay. Then rounding out this double row here will be Keith Shoemaker and Chad Garcia. And then rallying out the grid will be, I think that's Jordan Trask back there, possibly. I could be potentially wrong. No, that is Jordan Trask back there. So he unfortunately did not set a qualifying lap, so we don't have any data on him. Let's go ahead though and take a look at this race weather here. Air temp 90 degrees, track temp 95, so pretty slick one. It will cool down here because we will be going from a sunset lap to a more of a night and evening type deal, so this track will cool up quite a bit. Winds southwest 5 miles an hour, so you'll get a little bit of wind here and there. Race analysis, 150 laps, 228 miles. Stage is at lap 75. We do not have a caution for that, so we will remain green after that. Then pit road speed is 50 miles an hour. Don't want to get caught speeding on pit road. That can end your night pretty quickly. Then going on to fuel, we have an estimated of 58 to 65 laps. So they will need a pit once at least before this stage. And depending on how you want to, you could potentially split it, or you could run it as long as you possibly can and then hit it very last second. Then we have a total of 6 tires, 5 behind the wall. These guys are starting on one of those sets, so plenty of tires behind pit road for some of these guys. I think this will also be a good factor in tonight's race. If you really want to use them tires early and burn them up, you can, and will have at least probably one extra set there to remain comfortable throughout the race. But we'll have to see where these cautions will play in the hand, because that can also change how many tires you do or do not want to use. Alrighty, as we get these guys set up and get ready to take the green flag, let's go ahead and look, or let's go over our playoff bubble. Right now we have a close battle here between Aaron K and Justin Day. They are separated by 9 points between the cutoff line. So these two are going to be racing for that last and final position. Eric Garrison sits just 16 points above Justin Day in the second to last spot. So he's probably feeling a little bit comfortable, but again, you don't want to be too comfortable, because if we do get a first time winner, that can easily change things around very quickly. Some other fun facts that we should know: if you lead a lap, you get 3 points. Most lap led is 5 points, and then the fastest lap of the race is 1 point. So we'll have a look at the end of this race as to who sets down the fastest lap. You never know, some guys may want to potentially try and get that extra point, depending on if they do need it or not. Reed Schaefer will get those 5 extra points for the pole, so he's going to move himself up to a more comfortable lead into this playoff field. Turns 3 and 4 here before we take the green flag, and it will be time to decide our Freedom Racing Sunday Night Series playoffs. Will anybody new be able to lock their spot in and secure themselves into the playoffs tonight, or will Joseph Causey and Reese Schaefer continue their domination on this season that they've had so far? Into the restart zone. Green flag at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and we're off and away. Reed Schaefer with the advantage with that help from the 10 car with Jordan Berry, and now Joseph Causey trying to do his best to fight on that outside lane. He just doesn't have the help behind him that he needs, so that's going to allow Reese Schaefer here to get clear of the 3 and the rest of the field coming to lap 1. Fighting hard behind them, that's Jordan Berry to the inside of Derek Garrison. Derek Garrison's going to put himself in position there. Field working hard behind him, trying to sort out their positions. The top 5 single file for the time being. Got one car back there a little high. I believe that was a 37 of Aaron K. Big bump here at the front from Eric Garrison to Reese Schaefer to keep 17 car out in front of the 3 car as they go into turns number 3 and 4. Joseph Kazi looks like he's going to have the advantage and lead this lap. Your top 3, Joseph Kazi, Ray Schaefer, Derek Garrison. These 3 are the guys who have proven themselves this season. Each have more than a win. Derek Garrison with 2, Reese with 4, Joseph Kazi with 5. And they're showing why they have the most wins out of this field so far. Jordan Berry, Eric Garrison side by side here. A battle for 4th position. Jordan Berry just doesn't have the help on that inside lane that he needs to gain momentum. There's a car a little bit high in the wall there. I think that was the 99, was it? Yes, I believe that was the 99 of Rob Hamp there, who got a little high into that higher lane and probably just got a little bit of dirty air and dirty marbles on his tires and just kind of hit that wall just barely enough to cost him a few positions. Now he's back there 3 wide, top of 3 wide. I believe that's the 01 and the 88 there. So he's going to try and rebound from that mistake a lap ago. Apologies right there, folks. I switched out. I pressed on the wrong camera right there. Justin Day, Eric Garrison there, side by side now. Jordan Trask making his way up through the field. He's up to 9th position now. After starting in the back, wasn't able to post a lap there for qualifying. But that's shown that he has not been set back because of that. These top 4, Joseph Kazi, Reese Schaefer, Jordan Berry, Eric Garrison, they've kind of figured themselves out. The rest of the field back here is kind of dogfighting for position. Bryce Shoemaker was able to get out in front of these guys. Now it's up to Justin Day, Nick Wood, Jordan Trask there. 10 car slides down in front of the 8 right there to put a block. You don't want to lose too many positions here. These guys could potentially be trying to stay in line so that they can save a little bit extra fuel to stretch it as far as they can in this opening stage. Again, we won't have a caution, but you might want to try and pit early. Try and maybe get yourself out in front of the leaders. If you are close enough, that is. We'll have to see if anybody is willing to take that risk or not. Jordan Trask now trying to work himself around the 6 machine of Nick Wood. He'll be clear of the 5 coming out of turn 4. Will he slide up? Yes, he will. Now he's going to try and get the draft off the 6 car and work on him next. Nick Wood with a little bit of a slap to the wall right there. You can see the damage on his right side. He got up a little bit high, maybe got a little bit tight and got into the wall just a bit. I don't think it'll hurt him too much. It might affect the handling. Let's see if we can get a little closer to look. You can kind of see there's a little bit of right front damage there, I believe. Although it mainly does look like it's in the door. And we got contact here in the back. That's a 37 in the 01 car. They're able to hang on to it. Good save there by the 37. That was a very hard hit to that outside wall, though. I wonder if he possibly has any damage here. He's definitely a little bit slower, and it looks like he's going to bring it down pit road here. So that wall slap by the 37 is going to cost him a little bit of time here and potentially a lap. See if he takes his fast repair here. We do get one fast repair. I don't believe I mentioned that, but we do get one fast repair, and I do believe he's probably going to want to take that, considering that was a very hard hit in that outside wall. Let's see what he decides to do here. He's going to take 4 tires here, at least, and it does look like he will get this damage fixed. So let's go ahead back up to the race lead. The pack has kind of settled themselves out now. Got a little bit of a gap between these top 7 cars and then the rest of these guys behind them. Using that high side here, trying to gain some momentum on Reese Schaefer. He's up to 3rd place. And he's probably trying to get some clean air off that front end, trying to help him turn a little bit better. That's going to be part of the discussion tonight, is who can get their nose into that clean air, because that can be a big factor as to how much speed and how much rotation you're able to carry into these corners, especially with how fast we're going. You're not really having too much off throttle time, not really braking at all either, so a lot of this is going to depend on how much you're able to get this car to turn with too much throttle as well. But you don't want to use up that right front. That will be the issue that we probably will have to go through and see in tonight's race. Reese Schaefer giving a bump there to Joseph Kazi. Those two working together just a little bit. I think they know what the task is at hand tonight, and that's just to end up with one of those guys with a chance at seeing victory lane. They both have enough wins this season so far that they're not worried about getting another win. The guy that I would watch here is currently sitting in 5th position. That's Justin Day here. Remember, he's right above that cutoff line. He's 9 points to the good. He's racing Eric Garrison. Eric Garrison back there in 9th position. Or Aaron K, excuse me, not Eric Garrison. Aaron K. I had that mixed up. Apologies there. We're gonna go ahead and take a side-by-side break here, and then we'll come back to this final race of the regular season in just a moment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Right there, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sunday Night Freedom Racing Series. We're here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the final race of the regular season. Your current leader is Joseph Kazi, Ray Schaefer directly behind him, Derek Garrison there sitting in 3rd place. We're coming to the lap 33 mark. And again, we have this stage at lap 75. We will not have a caution for that, so we will remain green. This top pack has pulled away for the time being. They've gained themselves by over a second over the rest of the field, or over a couple seconds over the rest of the field. This is about the top 9 to actually 7, top 7 right now. That's Jordan Berry rounding up the last of this group right here. so far these top three have kind of remained single file. They've been pretty easy with each other. I think those guys, at least the top two of Joseph Kazi and Reese Schaefer, have some sort of strategy plan on what they want to do for the race. And there's Derek Garrison back there in third place, kind of the odd man out of those two teammates in front of him. So he's going to probably need some help from these guys behind him if he's going to want to make a move under green on those two. He's working that high side, hasn't been able to get too much momentum going, but as time goes on, and as we get into this later portion of the race, we could potentially see that high side become more of a factor. Trask trying to work his way around Bryce Shoemaker for the 4th position. He's worked himself up by quite a bit. Started 15th, currently sitting in the 5th position, so he's up 10 spots since the start. He's been on the hunt, and he's looking to try and get his first win in this series. We've talked to him a little bit earlier this season. He wasn't too happy. He was a little bit disappointed in himself. He said he needed to do a little bit better on some parts of the race, and he made that pass right there look pretty easy on the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker. So he's going to slot up into the 4th position right behind these top three, and he's going to set his marks on those top three as Jordan Berry behind got a little bit of that wall off of turn number 4. That kind of setting him back a little bit further off the pace now. Wondering if he potentially has any damage like you saw the 37 have earlier. That was a pretty big hit. Running that high side, trying to get this run on Joseph Kazi, still not enough. And I think if you're Reese Schaefer, you're pretty okay with trying out some things. It doesn't look like Derek Garrison has been able to make it work sitting behind them so far. So if I'm Reese Schaefer, I'm okay with trying things like that as long as it doesn't cost me too much. If I see Derek Garrison in that 8 car get a big run or get beside me, then I'm probably going to try and close that door and keep doing what I've been doing. But for the time being, these three have kind of just ran their own race and haven't really put up too much of a fight with each other. Got Keith Shoemaker here hitting pit road. Not sure if this is scheduled or not. Looks like it is scheduled, so he'll be getting 4 tires here, and then he'll be off and away. Trask has closed the gap on these top 3 cars. He's pulled Bryce Shoemaker with him. And that could have been a strategy move by Bryce Shoemaker. He saw that Jordan Trask was coming up. He was trying to not race him too hard because of the lost time that you can gain from those battling side by side. And I think what Bryce did was say, hey, I'll let you go try and catch up to them, and then if you aren't able to, I'd like that position back. Now, not all the drivers are willing to really have that kind of reflect in mutual respect for one another, but we could potentially see that out of maybe some guys that haven't done the full season and are a little bit further out in the points. As Bryce Shoemaker gets a little bit tight underneath the 9 car, he won't be able to complete that pass or remain side by side with him. So now Jordan Trask trying to go to work on this 8 car. He's using that high side. This sun is setting fairly quickly from what it was 45 laps ago. We have a complete shade in turns 1. We're getting there in turn 2. And then turns 3 and 4. Again, kind of the same thing, opposite deal. Turns 3 still sunny. Turn 4 mostly in the shade. Bryce Shoemaker now falling off the pace just a little bit. He's at half a second behind Jordan Trask there, and continuing to fall. So if he loses this draft, this could potentially be a big blow for his night. The draft is really key, and you really want to stay within at least a second of these guys, as Derek Garrison now goes beneath the 17, trying to get a run to the inside. That 17 is able to hold off on that high side. Let's go on board with Schaefer here. And I'll say that we'll go on board with him in just a second, actually. The 8 car's looking to his inside again. Schaefer still able to hold off on that high side. Garrison not quite able to build enough momentum there. Jordan Trask looks like he's hit pit road here. So Jordan Trask coming down pit road to make his scheduled green flag pit stop here at lap 50. See what the top 3 do here, if they continue to stay out or if they decide to pit. Bryce Shoemaker continuing to fall back. He's sitting now in 4th place after Jordan Trask is pitted. He's going to remain on track. So it looks like Jordan Trask is going to be the only one for the most part who's made his green flag pit stop so far. Justin Day, actually, now that we say that, is going to make his way down pit road. Will Derek Garrison be able to clear? He won't have enough here again. Reese Schaefer in that 17 still holding strong on this outside lane. Derek Garrison's been trying to do everything that he can to make something work on that inside lane, but just hasn't had quite enough. cars here hitting pit road. That's Jordan Berry in the 10 car. He's making his green flag pits here. He's going to get 4 tires and fuel. Now we're just waiting on these top 4 guys to hit pit road. Joseph Causey, Schaefer, Derek Garrison, Bryce Shoemaker. Those top 4 have yet to make their green flag pit stops. Garrison was able to get to the high side of Reese Schaefer there, and he's going to be able to get finally past the 17 car using that high side that he hasn't been able to get. Derek Garrison's going to set himself onto that 3 car of Joseph Causey, trying to get the race lead. He's hungry for that 3rd win of the season. We've talked to him before. We've seen what he's willing to do for a win. I know, but the guy back there directly behind him in the 17 car has some experience from learning from what Derek Garrison's willing to do for a win, and probably does not really want to see Derek Garrison go to victory lane here tonight. So he's probably going to want to put a stop to that, but we'll have to see what Derek's able to do here later on into the race, as Bryce Shoemaker now is going to make his way down pit road. So now just these top 3 of Joseph Causey, Derek Garrison, Reese Schaefer have yet to still make their first pit stop of the evening. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lap difference between these guys that have pitted and who haven't pitted. So one of our most recent guys that we can go probably to is Jordan Berry. He's a 31.173. And then these guys who have yet to pit will go on to Joseph Causey, the race leader, 32.296. So a pretty big difference between lap time difference with these newer tires versus the older tires. And you wonder if maybe Bryce Shoemaker was able to hit soon enough to where he's able to make up a little bit of time on that. Now Derek Garrison taking the call to hit pit road. Derek Garrison now rolling into his box here. See if we can get a bit of a shot at this. Apologize, folks. Derek Garrison's going to be off and away now, and now our top 2, that's Joseph Causey and Reese Schaefer. They will now make their way down pit road for their scheduled green flag pit stops. Reese Schaefer with that number 1 pit stall. See if he's able to make anything happen coming off of pit road here. Joseph Causey's going to beat him off pit road, so it does not look like he's going to have that advantage of that number 1 stall. Have to wait and see where these guys cycle out to. There's Bryce Shoemaker directly behind him. Jordan Trask going through turns 3 and 4 with Justin Day right behind him. So they're the leaders in 3 and 4. And then here's Joseph Kazi, Reese Schaefer now going into 3 and 4 as Jordan Trask and Justin Day exit turn 4, coming to start and finish line now. So a pretty big difference between these guys from hitting just those couple extra laps earlier than expected. And if you're going for stage points, that's a good thing. If you're going for the win, that could also be a good thing as well. We'll have to wait and see how long it takes these guys to close up the gap. Remember, we did see pretty big difference there at the end of that run before we started to make our green flag pit stop. So depending on how far these guys are willing to go this time, we'll have to see how long it actually takes them to adjust and get back in the rhythm of things. And then these guys are also working their way around lap traffic. That's the 5 car of Eric Garrison. I believe that was Keith Shoemaker as well. I could be wrong. And now Derek Garrison is actually in 3rd place, so he was able to get leapfrogged around Joseph Kazi, Reese Schaefer from pitting those 2 extra laps earlier. And you wonder if maybe he potentially saved a little bit of fuel riding around behind those 2, that he possibly needed to take less fuel that pit stop, and maybe that played an effect into how quick his pit stop time was. Let's see here. So it looks like Derek Garrison, Joseph Kazi, and Reese Schaefer, they're all pretty similar on pit stop time. Joseph Kazi actually had the quickest stop out of all of those guys. So Derek Garrison must have just had that big of a difference getting on and off pit road. Back up to the front though, Jordan Trask here leading at the line over Justin Day, Derek Garrison. This is redemption from what he's been saying about himself. He's been doubting himself. He's been down and hard on himself all season long from when I've talked to him. And right now, he's currently out front, showing the way here early on. Here comes this 8 car of Derek Garrison to the inside of Justin Day there for 2nd place. I think Justin Day is probably going to let him go, and yes, he will. So now slot Derek Garrison into 2nd place. Set his sights on the 9 car of Jordan Trask here to the outside. Using that high side advantage, he's going to be able to clear Jordan Trask there going into 3 and 4 and set himself on the clean air and pole away. Now Joseph Kazi and Reese Schaefer are going to have to work around these guys behind them. They made quick work of the 24 car of Justin Day, working together to get around the 9 car there on that bottom side. Reese slides up in front of the 9 right there. Now move these 2 to 2nd and 3rd. And they'll set their sights on the 8 machine of Derek Garrison now. They are quickly working together, Reese giving pushes to the 3 car so that they are able to catch up to the 8 car as quickly as they can. And now this track is quickly turning into a night race. 72 laps in, correction. And in just about probably 15-20 laps, this track will be in complete darkness. And then we will end this race under the night lights and the night sky here in the desert of Las Vegas. That 8 car is now using that high side like these 2 did on him earlier in the run. The unfortunate part though is that these 17 and 3 are working together so well, and that's going to allow the 3 car to now get out in front of the 8 and the 17. 3 car staying low so that he can drag that 17 car in front of the 8 car, but that might be a little bit harder to do since that 8 car is fighting back hard on that outside lane. These 3 single filed themselves out for the time being there. And as I say that, actually Derek Garrison wants to go back to the outside of Joseph Kazi there for the race lead. That 17 car is a bit back and probably won't be able to help the 3 car out as much as he hoped for. But that's good news for Derek Garrison. Oh, tight on the door, a little bit of contact right there. They're leaning on each other going to turns 3 and 4. Maybe push that 8 car up a little bit, and Joseph Kazi's going to be split 3 wide in the middle. That's Reese Schaefer, Derek Garrison around him. Reese isn't able to clear up, and these 3 are going to remain side by side here, coming up turns number 1 and 2. Side drafting is the 3 to the 8 car, and now the 17 car is going to slide up behind both of these guys. He wasn't able to make that work. Maybe try and set himself up for another run here. Ooh, 8 car a little bit loose there off turn number 2, but he's going to be able to reclaim the lead off of the 3 car. 3 car gets a little bit of contact. Got the little bit of that rear end of the 8 car and kind of slid him into the corner there. Now the 17 and the 3 are going to hook up again and push each other around on that inside lane. The 8 car is just a sitting duck. Hit that bump right there a little bit. Slams the door there on the 8 car. 8 car is not going to be too happy about that, I don't think. These 3 are racing really aggressively for this first position, but they also do not have anything to lose. These top 3 each have those wins back behind their name, so I'm sure these guys are a little bit less willing to save anything that they have and just go for this race lead and the win. Those 2 switching positions behind them, throwing blocks on one another. Those 2 have a history. This 8 car sends it in really deep, trying to get to the back bumper of that 3 car, maybe get him a little bit loose there, all over the back bumper of this 3 now, going down the backstretch, see what he's going to do here in 3 and 4. He can a little bit lower, not quite enough, maybe get a little bit tight in that dirty air. lost a little bit of time there coming off turn number 4. Now that 17 car is going to give it a little bit of a nudge to that 8 car down the front stretch. Car still working very hard to get around this 3 car for the race lead. He's been applying a lot of pressure here these last few laps. Hasn't been able to make anything happen though, so he still remains in second place. That's a 17 car now. Looking to his inside here, coming out of turn number 2. This is going to stall him out a little bit. Here comes the 17 looking low underneath the 8 car again. Not able to make it work. This 17 car now experiencing what it was like for the 8 car of Derek Garrison earlier in this race, trying to work on that bottom side. This 17 car now finally able to get clear of the number 8 car. Now he's going to slot himself into second position. Let's go ahead and look at this. This is for the stage win right here. Joseph Kazi, Reese Schaefer, Derek Garrison, and Reese Schaefer. I'm not quite sure if Reese Schaefer had that quite in the bag, but either way, that was a very close finish here for that stage win. We'll go ahead and look back at that and see if we can get a clearer image, see who actually did get that stage win at the line. For the time being though, your race leader Joseph Kazi, Ray Schaefer directly behind him, and Derek Garrison in third position. Alright, I said we'd take another look at this. Let's go ahead and look at this. This was a stage finish right here. That was Derek Garrison just barely over Joseph Kazi and Reese Schaefer there. And what a close finish there for the end of the stage. Again, so Derek Garrison will get that stage win. And that's a big... I think that's a big relief to him. I know with those wins, he still is pretty far back from those top two of Joseph Kazi and Reese Schaefer playoff position-wise. So that's going to carry a lot of momentum here into this playoffs. let's take a look at this race recap so far. Lap 92 out of 150. No cautions yet. 6 lead changes though. That's a pretty decent amount of lead changes for what kind of track and racing we have. Still plenty of time. We will have to pit again here very shortly. Some of these guys, again, who maybe pitted early, we will be seeing coming down here sooner rather than later. Let's go ahead and take a look at this again. So the earliest guy that I believe we had was Keith Shoemaker at lap, let's see, what was that? Lap 40. And then Jordan Trask, who was up there and was leading a few laps, tried to play some strategy there. He pitted at lap 49, as well as Justin Day at lap 50. Those two a little bit further back now that things have cycled out. Then the rest of the top 3 leaders pitted at lap 58 and 59. So we can go, I believe it was around 58 to 64 laps on field. That was my guesstimation of calculations from what I was told, which would mean that we will see these guys come down shortly. That will probably happen around lap 100. I'd say 105 to 115, where we should see some of these guys come down and pit, who maybe pitted early on. I believe that's the 47 working his way down pit road. Keith Shoemaker now working his way down pit road too, so he'll be making his pit stop here. Alright folks, we're going to go ahead and go side by side once again. This will be our last break before the conclusion of this race, but we will be back in just a moment.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Alrighty, folks, welcome back to the Sunday Night Freedom Racing League here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We're just under 50 laps to go here. Our current leaders, Joseph Kazi, Reese Schaefer here at the top of the charts. Derek Garrison falling off by just a little bit now. He's in third place. Potentially used up those tires early on and maybe paying the price now, see if he's able to rally back. Some of these other guys like Bryce Shoemaker in fourth place having a really good run. Jordan Trask here right behind him as well, sitting in fifth position. Remember, he played some of those strategy cards earlier on and he's lost a little bit of time since then, but still overall feeling really good if you're him, probably. Especially after the season he's had so far. Going back down through the charts, this is Jordan Berry in the 6th position. Justin Day back here in this 24 car. Or this 12 car, I should say. I do believe Justin Day is the 24. I think there's just a scoring issue there with that. Then going on to the 8th position of Keith Shoemaker. Then we go on to Eric Garrison here in this 5 car, sitting in 9th position right now. Jim Foskett there in that 10th position in that 47 Ford Mustang. Aaron Kay in this 37 car. And then that's, I believe, most of the field that's currently out here right now. Joseph Kazi, Reese Schaefer has pulled away by just over a 1.5 seconds right now. Over that 3rd car of Derek Garrison. And you have to be wondering, if you're Derek Garrison, what do you need to do to catch back up to the rest of those top 2 right now? You're dealing with a little bit of lap traffic. That might be hurting you as well. But if you're him, maybe you pit a little bit early again. Try and get some momentum built up. Maybe try and save a little bit, or try and get some help out there. Or you could always hope for a caution. I know some people may not want that caution, but others probably will. Jordan Trask now making his what should be final green flag pit stop. He's going to get 4 tires and fuel, and he'll be away here. Bryce Shoemaker directly behind him in this 54 car now coming down pit road. So he'll make his final green flag pit stop as well. A little bit of lap traffic now coming into play. Here's the 5 car of Eric Garrison in the 47, as well as the 88. All of those guys just made their pit stops, so they will be having these fresher tires and trying to get one, if not a few laps back, depending on where they sit. And that's kind of made this gap between Reese and Kazi a little bit bigger, having to deal with that. I think Kazi was trying to get out the way right there, trying to let these guys go back by on that high side. Actually, it looks like these top 2 are going to pit now, so as long as they're able to slow it down in time, no issues, they should be able to come out where they ran. See what these two are able to do here. Four tires in the field for both of these guys. Who's going to get the race off pit road? That's going to be going to head to Joseph Kazi. He'll get the lead off pit road. Reese Schaefer directly behind him, and there's a pretty large gap between these two now as they come off of pit road. Reese Schaefer's now going to have to make some time up after that green flag pit stop. He lost quite a bit of time there. That could have been just trying to slow up and give a little bit of time back, trying not to speed on entry. Or it could have been that Joseph Kazi had a little bit better of a pit stop. Derek Garrison now working on this high side of that 17 car. And if you're Joseph Kazi, you're loving the battling for second place between these two, because that's going to allow you to pull away just a little bit more inch by inch as these laps wind down. Still battling here for position. The 8 car of Derek Garrison's had a decent run off on the high side, but has not been able to clear the 17 quite yet. If they want to chase down that 3 car of Joseph Kazi, they got to get clear of one another as soon as possible. These two still battling super hard for the second position, and I know Reese Schaefer probably isn't going to cut Derek Garrison any slack trying to get around him after that incident at Phoenix a couple weeks ago, but that's just allowed Joseph Kazi to slowly pull another 10th over these over these second and third place runners of Reese Schaefer and Derek Garrison. Another 10th almost down the drain for these two. Derek's clear. He should be able to get down. Not quite, actually. Reese has that momentum on that bottom. He's going to side draft this 8 super hard down this front stretch. Now the 17's finally clear of the 8. Let's see if these two potentially realize that they might have to work together for a little while so that they can catch Joseph Kazi. He's almost 2 seconds out in front of these two. Kazi right now dealing with a little bit of lap traffic. He's able to clear the 47 and the 88. So he'll be able to set sail once again. Lost a little bit of time, but now he's got clean air. Let's see what Reese Schaefer and Derek Garrison can do since they've single filed out now.
Hello? Oscar, you might be muted if you're talking. Still nothing. Still nothing. Alright. I'm gonna do this, I think you're definitely talking to stream, but I'm gonna do this, Oscar Reese way. Well, Reese, it was a good race out there for tonight. How'd the car feel? Yeah, Oscar was, it was really good out here tonight. We were able to, lead with some laps, work with Causey. It was, definitely, one of those races where air sadness and the dirty air was just so strong. I was trying all race to find clean air behind Causey while push him and try to get away from the pack so we can make it kind of a 3-horse race. And I would say it was. I feel kind of bad for Derek for kind of the 2v1 there, but I would also like to say I remember distinctly season 1 or 2 where it was you and Derek at this track versus me, and the exact same thing happened. So it's kind of a very interesting how that was like comparison, how that happened last time. I think it was last time you were here, maybe 2 seasons ago, but then happening this time. Definitely great race, good work working with the cause. Kind of feel bad that Coach came out at the end there, but if he was in my shoes, he'd do the same thing, and I feel like I worked equally as hard for it. So it just feels just as gratifying, even though he probably has the regular season championship locked up with most laps led and all that stuff. We'll have to see. So yeah, it was a good race. Really glad me and Causey were able to work well and kept it green until 5 to go there and was able to sneak one out. So yeah, really happy with the race and happy with the result. And finally, I think it was been a while since been in the interview booth, so glad to be back. And yeah, all right, perfect. And then you're talking, and so I'm going to say my sponsors. And thank you.
All right.
Oh.
I think. Well, thank you. I'll let you continue. Continue.
Oh, okay. All right. Any sponsors, anyone, friends or family you'd like to thank? And also, before you go, what do you think about the playoffs here and coming to Nashville Fairgrounds this week? Yeah, thanks, Oscar. I'd like to thank my family out there, my dad, grandpa. They always like to tune in, and if they can't rewatch the streams, thank my girlfriend Emily. She always likes to tune in, and any friends and family who always like to tune in streams. And also, Oscar, I would like to personally say I've been watching the broadcast the last couple of weeks, and the overlays and the quality of it has just been magnificent. You've put on such a good job. I really like what you did with the Phoenix thing when me and Derek got tangled up. Having that quote and replay the wrecks, that was awesome. And it was yeah, I just love the overlays, and your sound computer runs immaculate. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. And as for Nashville Fairgrounds, gonna be a little interesting next week. I am having jaw surgery on. Well, actually, no, we have triple all-star race, and then we have what's it called? Then we have the fairgrounds. So the all-star race gonna be a complete shit show. Can't wait for it. It's gonna be awesome. I'm just gonna wreck Causey and all the boys. As for the actual playoffs, I'm going to potentially miss the first round because I'm getting jaw surgery, but I'm gonna try my best to race it. If I don't make it, hopefully my points will carry me over. If not, I probably have to win in my way into the final 8. So we'll see. Might be a little bit dramatic. Might make it a little challenging for myself. But yeah, just thank you as always for putting on a great show. And Thanks everybody watching the stream, and hopefully we can keep getting this league some more and more attention through broadcasts and everywhere, and get more people in here and have a lot more fun. So.
All right, thank you, Reese, there for doing the interview and being the interviewee. I don't know what was going on. I don't know what's going on with my mic on my other computer, but I was able to get this mic hooked up and working over here. I apologize if I'm a little bit quiet. With that, though, I think you pretty much got everything covered that I was probably going to ask you about. So I'll let you go ahead and celebrate the win, and hopefully we'll see you back here for the Triple Cup Challenge.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Oscar. And yeah, your mic sounds perfect now, and I'm really looking forward to the Triple Cup Challenge. I think it's going to be an absolute shit show. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully get a big turnout, and it'll be awesome. So.
Alrighty, looking forward to it, Reese. Thank you again for doing what you did right there.
No problem, Oscar. Anything, buddy. Have a good night.
You too. Alright, that was Reese Schaefer there. That was your race winner. Again, had a little bit of technical difficulties right there. Not quite sure what happened. I got pretty much the audio figured out for the time being. We'll go ahead, though, and pull up Joseph Kazi here, who finished second place. See if we can get to him real quick. All right, Joseph Kazi, finishing in second position there. Looked like you almost had the win secured, and then a late race caution, and it kind of just changed the game there. What did you need there at the very end in those last couple of laps to pull off the win and hold off Reese Schaefer?
That caution. That caution, and I should have you know how you kind of touch lift usually to try to set the nose in the cars and try to get through the corners. You know, I didn't lift all the way through 1 and 2, but I kind of touch lift in 3 and 4 because I want the nose set. You know, make sure I wrap the bottom pretty good. And when I did, Reese held it wide open, got to my right side, and I should have tried to side draft him a little bit harder, I think. But at that right then, when I was side drafting him, I seen Garrison going all the way to the right or to the left, and I was like, I didn't want to get caught out by that again. And as soon as I went left, he got spun out through the grass, and yeah, you know, that basically took me away from trying to side draft Reese and try to come back.
Yeah, definitely. I will say the name of the game here at these bigger tracks is side draft, and unfortunately you had the worst outcome there. Not really anything of your doing, just kind of unfortunately we're put in a position to where you had to be on defense, and just defense wasn't enough there. Still though, you have, I think we said 5 wins on the season so far, still sitting pretty going into next week, which doesn't really matter too much as to points and wins and whatnot. What is your mindset going into these playoffs over the next few weeks?
Try to get good points days. Try to, you know, be on the upper end of the points and not down on the lower end. No mistakes, basically. Try not to end wrecks. You know, try to have a solid day like this. You know, where it could have been. You know, I could have easily won it if that caution didn't come out. But also not getting into a mistake with something, you know, no speeding in pit road. That's usually my biggest mistake.
Well, you've been pretty good so far this season with not speeding on pit road, and you actually gained one off of Reese there a few times with his mistakes on pit road. So we look forward to seeing you back here next week. Is there anything else that you'd like to add before I let you go?
Shout out to Reed, shout out to the league, shout out to you, man, with the broadcast. I watched Act Richmond, man. Great stuff you're doing with the broadcast and everything. Like I said, shout out to Reese. He deserved to win just as much as I did. We helped each other out all race long to try to keep the top, you know, the front secured. And you know, when he said, "Don't hate me." When I passed you, I was like, "Shit, man, I ain't hate you. I would have done the same thing to you."
Oh, I love it. And I think you did say something about potentially wrecking you here in the Triple Cup Challenger, or maybe it was Nashville. I don't know. Maybe both of them. So I know you guys are gonna have fun doing it, but we look forward to seeing this battle continue on throughout this season and into this playoff championship race.
Yes, sir. Hopefully, we can keep it close and tight in the points with each other and make a good show out of it.
Alrighty, Kazi, I'll let you go. Enjoy second place finish. Congrats again. Hopefully, we'll be speaking to you next week.
All right. Appreciate it, Oscar. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Joseph Kazi again, finishing in second place there. Very close finish there at the line. Wasn't able to hold off Reese Schaefer. But let's go ahead and move on to our third place finisher now. And that'll be Bryce Shoemaker here. Hey Bryce, you got me there, bud.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, we've talked about keeping up on this momentum build and continuing to try and build off of that. You come home tonight in a third place finish, kind of ran top 5 majority of the night, got set back a little bit there when you started pit stops. What were you missing in tonight to just kind of keep up with those top 3 to 4 guys?
The draft is what I was missing. I can't remember who I was battling when I was able to run with those guys, but I battled someone and I just lost the draft and it was over from there. So obviously then you're going to short pit the guys that you're racing behind, so then you're offset from the leaders. So just no draft and then an offset off tire. So it was just running that 4th to 5th place the rest of the night basically.
Yes, and then that late race caution there, we've seen it time and time again here at the very end, and you were able to capitalize off these 2 guys in front of you colliding right before the start-finish line, and were able to pull through. Still, though, you were going to have a pretty decent finish, but gain 2 spots, and what does that do for you into these next few weeks where kind of we're getting down to the point where points and any extra spots you gain do matter quite a bit?
Yeah, getting that 3rd place was definitely crucial. We'll have to see where the points finish tonight for the regular season, but if I was able to capitalize, I think I moved up a couple positions in the regular season, which gives me a few more playoff points to start the playoffs. So definitely those 2 wrecking in front was big, but I don't know if I was the cause of that caution. I know I washed up a little bit. I have to look it back, but apologize if I did to Jordan. Just racing really hard there for 4th, and once I hit it was like a neck cut and it just bounced me to the inside, and then I just basically stopped the car on track because I didn't want to come back up in upcoming traffic. So glad that we could recover from that to get that P3, and glad to have the momentum continue.
Yes, sir, and I'm so glad that you're able to get these results. Last season didn't have the results that you kind of probably should have gotten, but before I let you go here, is there anything else that you'd like to add?
Just thank you for doing the broadcast, doing a phenomenal job. Thank you to all the drivers. We had 2 new drivers tonight, and I thought they did a pretty good job. Obviously, they didn't cause the one and only caution in the race, so thank you for them. I hope they continue to show up to get track time and ready for next season. And thank you to all the viewers who watches the broadcast. Thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you for taking a moment to speak with us, Bryce Shoemaker. We'll go ahead and let you continue on your night.
Thank you.
Alrighty, well, we are still having issues with the other microphone. I'm not quite sure if the headset died or not, but we will go ahead and continue on with the end of our post-race coverage here. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the results. Reese Schaefer there with the pole, or with the pole, with the win. Joseph Cossie there in this close second place. Bryce Shoemaker third place. Jordan Trask there able to round out in fourth place. Derek Garrison, we saw there, had a little bit of contact there at the end and still rebounded with the fifth position. Justin Day sixth. Jim Foskett there in seventh. Jordan Berry eighth position. Eric Garrison in ninth, and then Keith Shoemaker in 10th position. Rounding out the field, we got Aaron Kay in the 37, finished 2 laps down. Chad Garcia, 28 laps down. Nick Wood there, 79 laps down. Not a good night for him. I do think he had some connection issues. Rob Hamp there in the 99, finishing 14th, and then Jason Miz finishing 15th, rounding out the field. I think the only other thing we have to look forward to here right now is the fastest lap. We'll take a look at that quick. The fastest lap of the race went to the 9 car for Jordan Trask, so he'll be getting those points for that, or that point. And that can go quite a bit of a ways for some drivers. Him not really looking to a playoff position as much as some of these other guys, but it did take the opportunity away from someone who probably did have it earlier on in the race. And then going on to the schedule here, like we talked about, the Triple Cup Challenge here next week. That is July 6th. We had 3 different tracks. That's the Monza left. That's pretty much a big super speedway. Then iRacing Super Speedway for 10 laps. Then Daytona 2008 for a 20-lap race. And that'll be a fun night of kind of just chillaxing, going for short, quick races, and kind of build up for what will be the start of the playoffs at Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway for 200 laps, and that is July 13th. Rockingham Speedway follows with 150 laps July 20th. But then Darlington Raceway for 120 laps in that first round will be July 27th. And actually, I said that wrong. Legacy Kentucky will be the first cutoff race in that round, in that first round, and that'll be August 3rd. That'll be 120 laps, and then we head to Talladega Super Speedway for 90 laps August 10th. So some pretty interesting tracks coming up. A short track, so 2 very demanding tracks, Rockingham and Darlington. Then we go visit Legacy Kentucky, which the NASCAR cars have not been on for quite a while. And this is an older layout too, so it'll be a little bit rougher and bumpier. Then we head to Talladega Super Speedway, which is a plate track, and that'll be an interesting take overall for a lot of drivers and could potentially have an upset winner. With that though, I do think we can go overhead and look at this one more time. Our race recap finished with 1 caution for 3 laps and 7 lead changes there. Other than that, I don't have anything else to add. I know we had a few difficulties there, more so towards at the end. Apologies for that. I think in general though, most of the issues are just things out of my control, especially with that OBS issue we had there right before we got the green there at the very end. I think this is probably one of the best broadcasts I've done so far, and I'm glad that we had a really good finish to top it off. I just want to say thank you again to you guys watching out there, either currently live, tomorrow, or any other day later in this week or upcoming weeks. Big shout out to everybody who put on a great show, and we'll see you guys next week for the Triple Cup Challenge. Until then, have a good rest of your night, day, evening, wherever it may be.